Hey friends, Kerrigan Skelly with you here today of Pinpoint Evangelism. I want to talk a little bit about some other things regarding the coronavirus. Many people who are following certain theories, conspiracy theories, whatever you want to call them, would have you believe that our government is somehow using this to take away our freedoms, freedom of religion, freedom of speech. Because in regards to the president's guidelines and the guidelines of certain mayors and certain governors of different states and cities, we can't meet more than 10 people at a time. We must stay 6 feet apart. Some are issuing stay-in-home orders. In fact, the governor of Georgia just did that recently. I think it's going to go into effect tomorrow, which is Friday. And also, there's a guy down in Florida, Rodney Howard-Browne, who was a false teacher, by the way, prosperity gospel, word faith. He's a false teacher. Decided to have church services anyway. He got arrested. Then Mayor of Blasio up in New York City said that if any churches or synagogues open up, he will take action and even close them down permanently. And then I believe there's been some anti-abortion Christians. I believe they're Christians. I don't know the facts about that. In Charlotte, who were praying outside of an abortion clinic and were either arrested or some action was taken against them because abortion clinics are open. And of course, there's the thoughts that why are all these other places open? You know, whether it's big box stores like Home Depot and Lowe's or Walmart, or other grocery stores like Kroger, medical facilities. These even certain places that have allowed liquor stores to remain open. And so I want to just talk about some of these things for a second, and whether I believe our freedoms are being taken away here in America regarding Christianity. Let's start with New York City, Mayor de Blasio. That guy was way out of line. There should be people flooding his office with phone calls and emails and notes calling him to retract his statements, calling him he had no right, absolutely no right, constitutionally, to do such a thing that makes the statement, and he would never, ever, in my opinion, be able to follow through and be successful on accomplishing such a thing. He's bluffing. Okay, he's bluffing. Then the arrest in Florida of Rodney Howard-Browne. Well, let's just put it this way, friends. He's not the example to follow. Okay, he is not the example to follow. What about those who had some action taken against them in front of an abortion clinic? Well, now they were obeying, as far as I understand, the social distancing measures of staying 6 feet apart from each other. They're outside. They're on this public sidewalk, as far as I knew. So if that's all the case, there shouldn't be a problem. Of course, I don't believe abortion clinics are necessary at all. I think they should all be shut down, either burned to the ground, and all the abortion workers arrested for being complicit in the murdering of babies, or they should be changed to something that's more profitable, like maybe places where people can learn how to put their baby up for adoption, learn how to be parents, get financial help, counseling. So obviously I don't believe those things are essential. I also don't believe that fast food restaurants are essential. I mean, people can make their food at home. I think people have been emptying the grocery store shelves. I do believe grocery stores are essential. And when I go to the grocery store to buy groceries or supplies or different resources, I've seen most people seem to be complying with the social distancing measures and those kind of things. So do I think this is America trying to usher in the New World Order and taking away our rights? No, I don't believe that. I don't believe that for a second, because it's isolated instances of mayors and governors or local law enforcement who are doing things that are not right, who are doing things that are unconstitutional, doesn't mean they're trying to take away rights. These people are trying in the flesh. These aren't Christian people. They're trying in the flesh to do what they think is best to protect their people from getting this virus. Now, whether you think this virus is serious or not, whether you think it's just a fluke or not, I believe these people believe that it is serious and it is real. And it's a very great danger to the health and welfare of the people that they are in charge of protecting to some degree. And so when it comes to my perspective on this, I'm taking heed to the guidelines and measures. I'm still going out and preaching. In fact, I'm away to go preach right now in Atlanta, different places on my scooter, so I can broadcast a broad message to as many people as possible who are out in the streets, while keeping my distance from them so I don't contract anything from them. And so I don't think they're trying to take away our rights. And I'm trying to conform to these guidelines as much as I'm able to with my own conscience, being clear. And I'm not doing these things out of fear of man, fear of government, lack of faith. I'm doing things by faith. I've prayed about these things much. I've considered bucking these things. But as I pray, the Lord is convicting me to go along with these things. I don't believe this is part of the New World Order. Or now, later on down the line, these things that are happening now that I think people are doing with good motives might be used against us. That's possible. It's similar to different things in the past that people thought were the mark of the beast. People thought that the barcodes on products were the mark of the beast. People thought the social security numbers were the mark of the beast. People thought the driver's license were the mark of the beast. All these different things were the mark of the beast. And so there's going to be precursors, pre-things to the mark of the beast, pre-things to the New World Order that aren't necessarily meant to be used in that way. And the enemy of the people of God, Satan, enemy of all people, Satan, will eventually use these things, obviously, to bring about the things that he wants to bring about. But I don't think these things are that at all. Okay? I think people are really, in their own mind, whether they're accurate or not, they're trying to do what is best for people. And so, this is not my hill to die on. I don't think it's your hill to die on, Christians. I think we should continue to witness as we're able to, as we go out in public, place gospel tract places, hand out gospel tracts to people, preach the gospel, go out in front of a Walmart in a public street corner and preach, hold a sign, hold a banner, do something as much as you're able to. And I consider it a necessity. And we'll see what happens today, whether he's trying to stop me or not. I'll have to deal with that. But this is not our hill to die on, Christians. I don't believe this is... I surely don't believe that President Trump, as much as I disagree with him on so many things, and I don't think he's a Christian by any means. I think he's done lots of good for our nation. As much as someone can who's not a true follower of Jesus, he's done lots of good. And I don't believe he's out to take away our rights, our gun rights, our rights to freedom of religion, freedom of speech. I believe he's trying to, at the best of his ability, the best of the knowledge he has, to lead our country to be more healthy on this issue. And so this is not the hill to die on. I believe these guidelines are wisdom. If this is really serious, it's wisdom. I believe it's love towards those who may be in worse health situations than you are, people whose immune system is already compromised, people who are older, that, we, for their well-being, for their health's sake, to stay away from them, to obey these guidelines. And, I know there's some of you who may get it and never know it. Some of you who may get it and you'll be fine. You won't ever have extreme symptoms from this. And some of you are thinking this is just a flu, it's a fluke. But listen, what if it's not? Are you willing to, by faith, be responsible for what consequences may come as a result of this? Are you willing to do that? If by faith you've prayed about this, not just watching one side of the story, reading one side of the story in regards to this issue, but reading all and watching all sides of the story, the positive and negative, those think it's real, those don't think it's real, conspiracy theories on this side and that side, and you're willing to, after you pray about it, I'm praying about it now, seeking the Lord about it. You're willing to, by faith, deal with the consequences if you're wrong. Then so be it. I believe by faith I'm doing what God wants me to do. Rodney Howard-Browne, who's I believe is a false teacher once again, is doing by faith what he thinks he should do. But what happens if a majority of his congregation gets sick and some of them die? Is he willing to deal with the consequences of that? Can God protect us? He sure can. But God can also let his people get sick. God can also call these people to walk in wisdom. And so, even when it comes to church gatherings, if you've ever been at a church gathering, you don't stay 6 feet apart. And if someone in there has it, you're all going to get it. You're probably all going to get it. And so, as I've said in the past, I'm all for local churches. I've beaten that drum like crazy over the last 5 to 10 years. And so I definitely believe in that, but there's times when it may be wisdom to separate for a period of time. We've done this before in our fellowship when there's less serious sicknesses, less serious measures being taken by the government. We've separated when there's like a serious stomach bug and people have to work and have to go to work. They can't afford to get sick. We've told people to stay home. There's not a problem. And so I don't think it's a problem here as well. Now, it can only go so far. It can only go on for so long. Like I said, we must walk by faith. So where there are people who are going too far, Mayor de Blasio, for example, these people who have action taken against them, standing in front of an abortion clinic, should we push back against that? Yeah, we can push back against that in a righteous way with legal means. And you can talk to people like the Liberty Council, who I believe has a strong stance against too much of our freedoms being taken away in these situations. But if it's for the wisdom, if it's wisdom, it's for the love of your neighbor, it's okay to obey these measures for a time. And like I said, this is not them just coming against churches. It's not them just coming and singling out Christians and saying, we're going to take your rights away, except in isolated situations like Mayor de Blasio. This is for everybody. This is for everyone. And while I see spiritual things, biblical things as necessary, more necessary than Walmart and Home Depot and Lowe's and Kroger and other places, gas stations, in the truest sense, they are more necessary. But remember, the people of our nation, the leaders of our nation, are not thinking on that mindset. And they're not pastors, not religious leaders. They are political and governmental leaders. And so they're thinking about things on a different mindset, on a different plane than you and I are thinking of. And so we need to pray for our nation. We need to rise up and be witnesses to our nation, speak the truth to our nation, even if you choose to stay home, do it online, say something, do something to spread the truth that people need to repent. And, whether you believe this situation is serious or not, whether you believe it's a fluke or not, it's a government conspiracy or not, I hope to God that you allow it to change you. Because this is not some insignificant thing. These kind of things don't happen very often. I mean, no one in our generation said they've been through something like this before. No one can say that. It's a worldwide pandemic. And so let it change you. What do I mean by that? Well, let it change how you live, how you eat, how you provide for your family. Start a garden. Raise some animals, raise some chickens. Learn how to do these things in case there's a food shortage. Be more of a witness. Put aside things that don't matter. Sports, hobbies, entertainment, amusement, things that are not necessarily sinful in and of themselves. They can be sinful if you become idolatrous and engage in things too much. But put them aside. Just be more serious about studying the Bible, especially eschatology, the last things, and times theology. Be more serious about your faith, about sharing your faith. Be more serious about at-home Bible studies. This whole situation, if your churches are obeying these guidelines from the president, most people are staying home. They're doing at-home services maybe, but some churches don't have the capability of doing that. And if they do, this is really a test to see whether fathers and mothers will rise up and be the spiritual leaders in their household they're supposed to be. So let it change you in these ways. Let it give you more urgency to speak to your neighbors. Don't just, even if when life does go back to normal, let's say in June, everything opens back up. Things begin to recover. Businesses begin to open back up. With the help of the government, they may be able to open back up unless they have to close permanently forever. Don't let things go back to normal. Don't just sit back and say, things are back to normal, and I'm going to go about my daily life as if nothing ever happened. Something has happened. And you need to treat it as if something has happened, because something has happened. And whether you believe it's a fluke or not, something has happened to our world around us. And it should cause you to stop being lukewarm. Whether it's your prayer life, Bible study life, how much you fellowship with other believers, how much you evangelize, let it change you, at the least. Even if you think it's a whole big fluke and a conspiracy theory, let it change you. Become more sober and serious about your faith. And, be more serious about your parenting. If you're a parent, your mother or father. Most of you are being forced to homeschool now. Even if you have two people who work, you're being forced to homeschool. Well, take it seriously and somehow get the mother home and have her homeschool the children, which is what she should be doing in the first place. But you're being forced to homeschool now. So let it help you. Let this help you transition you into being full-time homeschoolers. I know it sounds extreme, but I am all for homeschooling. Been homeschooling our 8 children for 9-10 years now, and it's been wonderful, and we've made it on just the income I bring into the household. And my wife does things on the side to help out. She does sewing things and that kind of stuff on the side to help out, but it's primarily been something I need to take care of with God's help. I think God's been faithful. So let this change you, friends. Don't freak out about this. Don't panic. Don't fear. Let it change you. The way you deal and the way you interact with this world and the way you live your life. Amen. At the least, we should all be able to say that. So just to recap, I don't believe our government's trying to take away our rights. There's some isolated situation, people going crazy. I don't think they would hold up in courts. I'm sure they'll be challenged as well. I believe we should take heed to these guidelines. I believe this is serious, more serious than most people are making it out to be. I don't believe there's some kind of conspiracy theory. I believe our government has our well-being in mind for the most part. I can't speak for every single government, local government, and political candidate or politician. I can't speak for all of them. I believe as a whole, they're out for our good. They want our good. They have our good in mind. And I think we should take heed to these guidelines for a period of time out of love for our neighbor and out of wisdom, walking in wisdom. And for those who think I'm wrong about that, well, let me ask you this question. Is there any situation, let's say it was more serious than you think it is right now. And let's say there was plenty of stats and facts and figures to back it up. And there are no videos of people going to hospitals and they weren't really busy. By the way, there are videos of people at hospital where they are busy too. So you got both sides. But let's say all that was not true, and it was true that this is real, and it was 10 times worse than what they're portraying in the media. Would that be a reason to follow guidelines? Or would you then try to appeal to martial law and New World Order and, taking away our freedoms? Is there any situation or circumstance where you'd say, okay, I need to follow these guidelines that the president's putting forth right now, that my local government's putting forth right now? I need to follow those guidelines. Is there any situation where you'd say that it was true? If there is, well, then maybe you just because of the information you think you have is true. It's not a matter of freedom and freedom of speech. It's not a matter of New World Order or martial law. It's a matter of whether you don't think this is wisdom or not. And so, according to your faith, so be it unto you. But I hope, if you're wrong, you're willing to deal with the consequences of your actions. Amen? Okay, God bless you, friends, on this day.